right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So Josina Anderson just released a new article regarding the New York Jets, right? Talking about how really the team is doing things differently. Of course, I'll leave the leave the article link down below in the description box. And quick side note, man, Josina Anderson has been on top of it. She's been, flat out, she's been killing it this offseason. But specifically with the Jets, she broke the Darren Muji news first, and she broke the Aaron Glenn news first. So you know when she is talking about the New York Jets or is referencing actual sources, that it's coming from a place of, hey, this is exactly what I'm hearing, and there's no sort of spin. There's no sort of, hey, we got to put this out for X reason. Again, everything that Josina Anderson puts out about the New York Jets seems to be accurate here. So I wanted to highlight this specific section where she talks about the quarterback position, and a source said to her, right now we are still trying to evaluate our players and vets in free agency. Some of us are just about to get into our deep dives on these college players. That process has just begun. But I do agree that is why player interviews are very important, because you've got to get a feel on who these players are, right? And then she goes on to say, one thing I have gathered in my various conversations is that Tyrod Taylor has multiple supporters in the building. Not only are there people who hold Taylor in a higher regard than one might think for a player who only played in 2 games in the green and white last season, but certain individuals in that building are complimentary of his ability to pass and run an offense. I'm not guaranteeing anything about a player's status. I'm telling you about some sentiments that do exist in that building. This to me is awesome, right? Because personally, I'm a big fan of Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor's under contract. Tyrod Taylor knows this team. Yes, of course, he doesn't know Aaron Glenn personally, right? Tyrod was not a member of the Saints or the Detroit Lions. He was not a member of the Denver Broncos, right? He didn't have that working relationship with Darren Muji. Those teams didn't go out and sign Tyrod. But when you want to talk about just a veteran quarterback that has been labeled a great teammate, someone who is extremely smart, just overall offensive IQ wise, someone who has just been in so many different offenses throughout the years, Browns, Bills, Ravens, the list goes on, Texans, Chargers, all these different teams, the Giants. Tyrod Taylor has really seen a lot of football. He's really absorbed a lot of different philosophies, a lot of different terminology, a lot of different aspects about offensive football that the average QB just doesn't bring to the table. And then you factor in on top of that, Tyrod's ability to really dissect defenses. And he's not the biggest guy in the world. To carve out a career like this, think of it, Tyrod was drafted back in 2011, the same year as Cam Newton, same year as Tim Tebow. Tyrod Taylor, granted, he's a backup quarterback and has been a backup quarterback for the majority of his NFL career, but again, to carve out a role like this, especially in this day and age where we have all these quarterbacks coming in every single draft class, but at the same time we're seeing a lot of younger guys leave the NFL early. Bryce Petty's out of football. Christian Hackenberg's out of football. There's so many young so many young quarterbacks that just simply can't hang. They can't stick in football. Tyrod Taylor is not clinging on by a thread. He's here for a reason. And that's why, going back all the way to last offseason, last free agency, when the Jets signed Tyrod Taylor, my favorite thing about the signing, 2-year deal. Because it gave the Jets security, with or without Joe Douglas, with or without Nathaniel Hackett, with or without Robert Saleh, that at least we will have a competent option. I'm not going to sit here and say Tyrod Taylor is a top 10 quarterback, obviously not, but when it comes to smarts, when it comes to the ability, just like Josina's talking about here, to run an offense, to maybe help mentor a younger quarterback, whether it be a Jordan Travis, whether it be someone that they signed, whether it be Justin Fields, whether it be a draft pick, whatever, to have a quarterback option like this, a high floor game manager, that to me is enticing. And it doesn't surprise me, frankly, in the least, that there's still, even though the old regime is gone, and we have all these new faces everywhere, Muji, Spielman, Glenn, Inkstrand, all the new quarterback coach too, right? With London coming in, all of these different, organizational acquisitions, if you will, and there's still individuals in that building that like Tyrod. So if that's the case, right, if Tyrod Taylor is the Jets starting quarterback next season, that to me, it's a solid plan. Again, I'm not, compare him to Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, obviously, Tyrod is not in that realm. But if the plan is, hey, we want to either A, develop a young quarterback, but maybe we shouldn't throw him out there early. So if the Jets want to go out and draft a Kyle McCord or, any of the names that we've been hearing about, even if the Jets want to draft Sanders or Cam Ward, I still think it would be smart to start Tyrod and allow those guys to sit and learn and watch Tyrod Taylor, handle an actual NFL offense, go through the motions of being a starting NFL quarterback, and to mentor these young guys along the way. The other plan, if the Jets aren't enamored with any of the draftable quarterbacks, Jackson Dart, again, Kyle McCord or Will Howard, if they're not really feeling any of those guys, and in their minds, they're like, hey, this team has a depth problem, this team has a roster hole problem, we could use that draft pick and potentially go out and draft a player that we actually do love in round 4 or round 5 or wherever it may be. And depending on the position, that player could actually start. That's just the position that the New York Jets are in right now. So instead of drafting that young quarterback, we just need to bridge until 2026. And Tyrod Taylor is a great option in that regard. And also too, the Jets still have Jordan Travis, so I'm assuming that Tyrod Taylor and Jordan Travis have a pretty good relationship. But we don't know anything about Jordan Travis. The only thing we know is that he didn't practice at all last season, and he actually had a setback from a gruesome leg injury that he sustained late into the college his final college collegiate game. But however the Jets want to draw it up, right? Drafting Sanders, drafting Ward, drafting Dart, drafting McCord, signing a free agent, maybe trading for a young guy like Sam Howell or Hendon Hooker. They want to just bridge it over to 2026. Tyrod, Jordan Travis, and maybe another cheap one-year veteran option. I really don't think that it's the worst option in the world to start Tyrod Taylor next year. I've always been a big fan. In fact, I was actually bidding on eBay a couple days ago on an autographed Tyrod Taylor card. Ultimately, it was out of my price range, so I had to let it go. But in any case, I do like Tyrod, and even admittedly, I did like him with the Buffalo Bills. I like his story. I like his game. I like how Rex Ryan gave him a true, fair opportunity and held his word. Hey, we have an open quarterback competition. Matt Castle, EJ Manuel, I believe Thad Lewis was also in that competition as well. Could be wrong on that, but it was those 4 guys, those 4 QBs. Best man's going to win. And Rex stuck with his word, and Tyrod Taylor won the job. And, if we think back, Tyrod Taylor was the quarterback that broke the Buffalo Bills playoff drought all those years ago. I mean, he really provided nice stability. Now, is Tyrod the same player that he was back in Buffalo? I'm going to say no. It's just been so long since that point. And you can definitely argue Tyrod Taylor is not the biggest guy out there. He's not the most durable guy out there. All fair points. All fair points. But the reality is the Jets aren't going to land a top 5 quarterback this season. It's just not in the cards. So whatever direction that this team wants to travel down, again, whether it's trying to find the answer through the draft, trying to wait until 2026, maybe it's Jordan Travis, maybe it's Justin Fields, maybe it's someone else. Tyrod Taylor, I think, is a great stopgap option. But that's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'm eager to see where you stand on Tyrod, because I get it. It seems like from the big media, publicly, Tyrod doesn't really excite many people at all. I really don't mind the option. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.